What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have the all-new ULTRAVIEW 1K arrows here in front of me. We're going to go over the tech specs on these arrows. We're going to talk about them and are they worth the $220 price tag that ULTRAVIEW is charging for these arrows. This is the second time this thing's blown over. See if we can't. I don't think I can get it in one go. I think I tried this last time and about hurt myself. Yeah, not happening. All right, so let's go over this arrow shaft from tip to tail. Like I said, everything about this arrow, I believe, is worth $220. Everything about this arrow definitely screams ULTRAVIEW. Instead of just buying components and shafts that were already on the market, white labeling them, putting them on their website, they have designed this from start to finish. Nothing about this I've ever seen on the market before. Everything about it is just, it screams ULTRAVIEW and their concept and their design philosophy when it comes to any of the archery products. Just like the slider, I said, what's the best thing that we can build and design? And I believe that they have done that with this arrow. I got this ethos back out. I'm gonna be shooting this for whitetails. So shooting an arrow like this, 472, light and quick, should carry enough punch. I'm gonna get all the no clearance issues. Sight set at 20. That's dead center. So this arrow is actually a 4.5 millimeter shaft. So it's not a 4, not a 5. Personally, I like choosing a 4 millimeter shaft because it is smaller. It's going to help buck the wind. And if all things are equal, I'm going to just stack as many good things into my column as I can. So having an arrow that has a good flight characteristic with a low profile design is something that I like. I've also found 4 millimeter shafts themselves to be pretty durable. The components, 50-50, depends on the components that you get, but ULTRAVIEW had to go through and design components for this shaft because it is a 4.5 millimeter shaft and there's nothing else on the market. This arrow is how I got it right out of the box. This is a 29-inch shaft, 300 spine, ready to shoot, comes with knock, comes with field point. Everything's already installed. You guys saw in the beginning of the video, I literally just pulled these out of the box, put them in my quiver, went outside and was able to shoot them. There was zero assembly required. Now you can get uncut shafts from ULTRAVIEW, come in 31 inches. They'll send all the components with it. You can cut them to your desired length and glue them in. But when you open this box, it has everything you need to go shoot. You don't need to buy the arrows and then go find field points like rolling around in your toolbox, or go over to the field point rack over at the Sportsman store and buy more field points. They've really thought of everything when it comes to these. Gonna come with a 100 grain field point on the front. Pulled one of these out. One thing that I do like about these field points, it's really hard to see here, but they do come with an O-ring on the shank. What that does is it helps keep the field point from rattling around as much. They still might rattle, but they were going to rattle a lot less than a field point that does not have those rubber O-rings on them. In any chance that I can buy those field points, I usually do. Just like the rest of the ones that I have, you know, stuffed up here in my drawer, I always get the ones with the O-rings on them because I just hate rattling field points. So it's going to come with 100 grain point. It's going to come with a 75 grain outsert. Again, this is an ULTRAVIEW design outsert. These are specific to the shaft themselves. So a 250 outsert is not going to be able to fit a 350 spine shaft. I mean, it might, but it's not going to have the nice low profile feel it does up against the shaft. So these are going to come true to size to the shaft that you get. But again, if you're buying them in the box, they're all going to come inside of it, so you don't have to worry about that. 40 yards. Super quiet. Shaft itself is made of a 1,000th weave carbon fiber. Now, this is where they get the name from the shaft, and for these arrows is the 1K shaft. This carbon right here, everything that I've seen about this carbon on their website and listening to other people talk about it, it is a very light, very strong, durable carbon that reacts really, really fast to stabilize the arrow out of the bow. So the tighter the weave, the faster it's going to recover, the stronger it's going to be. This carbon is hard to come by, and that is probably why these arrows are expensive. But if this is the best carbon that you can build an arrow shaft out of, ULTRAVIEW did not want to spare any expense, and they did not want to compromise in performance. So that's why they did it. And my experience shooting them, they are very, very accurate arrows, way more accurate than I think I can shoot, because they do stabilize so fast in the air. So you guys will see that. My tight group I had at 60 yards. So we're gonna weigh these shafts, see how consistent they are from shaft to shaft. This is gonna be our first shaft. 472 grains. Second shaft, 472. Third shaft, 472.2. Fourth, 472.2. Fifth shaft, 472.0. And last but not least, our sixth shaft, seemed a little light. Yeah, 472. So I guess just me putting it on the scale. Really good shaft, really happy with it. It does have the ice coating that Victory has on all of their shafts, because Victory Archery is the ones producing these for ULTRAVIEW. So it does have that nice coating on the outside of the shaft to make it really easy to pull in and out of the target. Again, that is a plus, especially when you're outside shooting foam all the time. Put these on the arrow spinner and see how these things spin. I mean, there's zero wobble. Zero wobble. No wobble. No wobble. Maybe the tiniest bit of wobble in the front. Let's check, make sure the field point was screwed in. This one has the tiniest bit of wobble. It's really hard to see, but not a wobble I'm concerned with, but this is the only one that has like the slightest bit of wobble. And this one's got a little bit too. I think it was just the field point was a little loose, but no wobble in the back and no wobble up front. Field point was just a little loose. But moving back over to the fletchings and the wrap, this is what a lot of us custom guys do when we build our own arrows, is we put wraps on it, because you know that when you go to replace fletchings, scraping against a carbon, scraping glue, I don't like doing that. I like to just, if I need to re-wrap or re-fletch an arrow, I just want to peel the wrap off, peel the sticker off, and then glue new fletchings right to a new wrap. It just makes it a way cleaner process. I'm not worried about gouging anything into my carbon and ruining the shaft or compromising the safety of the shaft. So I personally like running a wrap, plus it does look cool. And when you do get blood splattered down this arrow, it is going to show up on this white wrap and these white fletchings. The wrap itself is not a regular wrap design that you're gonna find anywhere on the market. It does have this cool little, cutout chevron look to it. And now, personally, I always thought, when I saw these for the first time, I thought that was just a UV thing so they can add their flair to it. But it actually does serve a purpose. So design engineer, one of their engineers there, Bruce, when you wrap an arrow shaft around, there is an overlap on the wrap itself on the vinyl. Now, technically, when you have that wrap over on the vinyl, there's going to be one side of the arrow that is going to be heavier than the other side, because those two pieces of vinyl are overlapped. What they went and did was they cut out, the seam is right here, they went and cut out on the top, so that way this is technically perfectly weighted around the entire shaft. Now, in my opinion, in my time of fletching hundreds, if not thousands of arrows, have I ever noticed that to be a problem? No. But it just goes to show that, yes, it does look cool, and B, they have absolutely thought of everything. They don't just take anything for granted when it comes to designing a product, especially a $220 arrow. They've definitely thought about it. When it comes to the vanes themselves, this is, again, a new vane profile that I've never seen on the market before. It kind of resembles some of the other vanes on the market, but it's built differently, I think, than a lot of other vanes. Instead of them being ribbon cut, these are actually injected molded, and because they're injection molding these vanes, they have a little UV logo embossed in it, and then they have this little cutout in here embossed into the side of the vane, and that is supposed to help with flight and characteristics of flight. I don't have any way to test this. I don't have any way to test it against one that does not have that, but I can tell you these arrows are pretty quiet flying. I did not notice them to be loud at all. The vanes on the back, they do have a little bit of play to them. It does appear that, you know, they will come back and retain their shape. I'm not sure if I've left them in a hot car and got them flat, if they're gonna pop back out, but everything that I've seen, touched on them, they feel really good. They kind of feel like a blazer, but not quite as stiff. So they have some rigidity to them, but they're also, you know, pretty flexible. Flexible enough where I was able to shoot an arrow through another one when I was shooting my group. In the back here, there is a bushing. This is a 4.5 millimeter to 4 millimeter choke down bushing for the Nocks that ULTRAVIEW is using in the back here. This is just a Nock from Victory, which I believe are made by AAE. And those are the Nocks that I prefer to shoot on all my arrow shafts anyways. I think when it comes to a 4 millimeter Nock, you cannot beat these Nocks. So it's really cool to see that they do have good quality Nocks along with the other rest of the components on the back. In my experience, like I said, I think these are the best Nocks on the market. So being able to not have to replace them, pretty neat. When it comes to components for these, you're not gonna find any aftermarket components because this is a 4.5 millimeter shaft. So when you buy this, it is ready to go, and there's a reason for that. It's because there are no aftermarket components for this shaft, with the exception of a lighted Nock. You can use lighted Nocks in the back of these. These are, like I said, a 4 millimeter Nock, so any 4 millimeter lighted Nock will fit in the back. Of 4 millimeter Nocks that I have shot, lighted ones, the Halo Nocks have done extremely well. They've shot very well. I believe that's what ULTRAVIEW is selling on their website. So if you're gonna shoot a 4 millimeter Nock in the back, I suggest looking at the Halo Nocks. In my experience, they've been really good, but if you wanna shoot nocturnals or any other 4 millimeter Nock on the market, it should fit into that bushing. So this is gonna be very expensive. This is my first, I just shot 6 arrows from 60 yards. This is what I got. This was my first one right here. This was just to see where my sight tape was, to make sure I was gonna hit the square. And then this is all 5 of them after that. Like, look how tight this group is with these arrows at 60 yards. I probably shot this arrow once and it's already destroyed. It's already got a hole in the fletching, so that's awesome. I'm gonna need a refletch kit already, but these UV 1K arrows, that's just nuts. Like, and there's no bullshit. That's not me trying to pull one over on you guys. That is an actual 6 arrow group at 60 yards. The first time I've ever shot these at that yardage with a sight tape that's not even actual sight tape. It's kind of close. If I move my sight over like 3-4 clicks to the left, I mean, I'm definitely shooting these arrows this year for whitetails, for elk, for everything. Again, I do think this arrow is worth the price tag. I know there's a lot of people that are gonna argue with me in the comments that this is not that spending $40 on an arrow is not worth it. But when you think about it, you're going on, you know, an elk hunt in Colorado, for example, is going to cost me $686 for the tag, let alone the flights, everything to get there. The $2,000 bow that I have with a $600 sight with $400 worth of stabilizers and quiver and everything else that you have on it, you're going to spend that much money. You're going to put an iron wool broadhead on the front of it. Why are you trying to skimp with the one thing that actually leaves the bow and goes into the animal or into the target? This is the projectile that you're shooting. Everything else is kind of irrelevant if the projectile you're shooting is not really good. I'm not saying there's not other really good arrows on the market, but in my opinion, I think ULTRAVIEW has done the due diligence of building an arrow that is worth the $220 price tag. There are other great arrows on the market at a much lower price point that I think you can get similar performance with. Again, it all comes down to the person shooting the bow. So if you don't want to spend $220 on a half a dozen arrows and you want to go out there and buy, you know, $80 half dozen arrows, glue the points in and be good to go, go for it. Again, it all comes down to the person shooting it. I can't tell you how many deer I've killed with Beeman white label arrows, or white box arrows. So you can do it with cheaper arrows, but I'm saying when you're going to look at the best arrow that is pre-made, pre-fletched, ready, assembled, ready for the guy that does not want to spend the time to sit there and individually weigh each component, measure it all out. They just want to go out there and buy it and be good to go. This is the arrow for you. These UV 1K arrows, again, I can't say it enough. I think they are 100% worth the price tag. If you disagree with me, drop it in the comments down below and tell me why. Just don't tell me, oh, they're too expensive. Like, tell me why you think they're too expensive. That's all I got. We're gonna go outside and I'm gonna show you the video of me shooting these arrows, and I'm gonna show you how accurate these things can be. So thank you for watching this video. My name's Jeff Cordero. We'll see you on another video.